Hey Park Hill family, this is the weekly update for Wednesday, July 8th, and I have three things I want to let you know about today. But before we do, I want to read from Hosea. Hosea is a minor prophet in the Old Testament, and his story is intense. God chose Hosea to be an example of God's own faithfulness to his unfaithful people. So if you know the story, Hosea was asked by God, commanded to marry an ancient prostitute named Gomer because God wanted to show through that crazy dysfunctional relationship how faithful God actually is, even when us, his partners, are unfaithful. And so yeah, read this minor prophet in this moment. It's profound actually in light of everything that's going on. But there's this moment in chapter 2 where God describes what it will look like when God's faithfulness finally wins at the end of the story. And he says, "In that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband. You will no longer call me my master. I will remove the names of the Baals from her lips." In other words, the Baals were the pagan gods, the pagan masters that would ruthlessly rule his people when they were unfaithful to him. And he's like, I'm going to remove all of that. I'm going to remove all of the things that are actually destroying you. No longer will their names be invoked. In that day, God's saying, I will make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, the birds in the sky, and the creatures that move along the ground. Bow and sword and battle I will abolish from the land. So right here, when God's saying the beasts of the field, birds in the sky, creatures, he's echoing back to creation. He's saying all my desires for creation and for flourishing, I'm going to bring them to bear. I'm going to bring them back, and I'm going to bring you back to flourishing. And weapons and swords and bow and battle, the equivalent of guns and tanks, will be no more. So that all may lie down in safety. I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you in righteousness and justice, in love and compassion. I will betroth you in faithfulness, and you will acknowledge the Lord. And so God is basically banking on his own faithfulness to say, I'm going to finish what I started with you. Even though everything looks ruined, I'll be faithful. Even though you're faithless, I'm going to make you faithful. That's how faithful I am. And so just know that that's our future, you guys. Our hope is set because God demonstrated his love and his endurance, his enduring faithfulness through Jesus at the cross. Then he gave us his Spirit to bring us into faithfulness at the end. It's so important to ground our outlook in our secure, sealed future. Especially in moments like this when everything seems, like it is. It's a crazy time. This is a crazy summer, you guys. Summer of 2020. We'll never forget it. So with that, I just want to move into three quick announcements. You guys, number one, as many of you know, we are postponing our in-person gatherings. We were supposed to gather in person outdoors with masks and distancing and even like sing without singing. I don't know how that would have felt. That would be weird. But we're postponing in-person gatherings. So we're going to keep singing together from our homes and worshiping together through the live stream. So the gathering date is now to be determined when we actually do resume gatherings. I'm bummed about it for sure. Cannot wait to be together. Yeah, church, this is a wild time to be the church. And it's beautiful time to be the church. Because here's the second thing. Could not be more thrilled about this one. We, the leadership, are putting together a justice page that will be hosted at Park Hill's website. And it's going to be basically a one-stop shop for all kinds of beautiful justice initiatives that we believe our whole church is called to. Feeding the homeless, visiting the poor, all kinds of ways you can look and see and get involved. Some of them are donations we can give outward. Some are actually give ourselves and our time to people that are vulnerable. I cannot wait to roll that out. Probably, we have to make sure everything's in place, but late July, early August maybe. More on that to come. And then the last thing I want to say, we are a church that values diving into the scriptures, like deeply studying the books of the Bible and asking, Holy Spirit, how would you direct our church to live out of this biblical book? And so we will be back, this is it, we will be back in 1 Corinthians Sunday, September 6th. And we'll just keep going through that book. We started, sorry, there's flies and mosquitoes. We started 1 Corinthians at the beginning of this year, and we stopped because of obvious reasons. And now we're looking at the Holy Spirit, which we believe we need to during the summer. Who is the Holy Spirit and how does he work in our life? And my wife and I are going on vacation in August, and we'll have different speakers from within our church talking about the Holy Spirit. And then in September 6th, we will be back in 1 Corinthians. My favorite times in the life of our church are working through, like, in-depth the Gospel of Matthew and 1 Corinthians and biblical books. And so we'll be back in it together in September. All right, church? So that's it. Just know that the Lord is your husband, and he's faithful to us, and he will absolutely finish the work he began in us. There seems like ruin all around us. And all our expectations are unmet in this moment. But God will exceed our greatest expectations because of his relentless faithfulness to us. And so 30 years down the road, in the year 2050, we'll look back at 2020 and be like, that was insane. But look how good God is. He's so good. So church, just hold on to Jesus in this time. Don't forget to spend time in his presence, breathing deep in his grace. And may his face shine upon you. God bless, church.